Okay, so thank you very much, Rafael, first for your excellent presentation, and thank you very much for everyone for attending. Okay, this is my. I will try to make my presentation within maybe 15 minutes or something because of the time. My name is Muatasim Ismaeel. I have a PhD in management. I'm based in Oman in the Middle East. I work as a management consultant and trainer, and little bit academician, not that much. I mean, I do some academic research as well. And my topic today is about future of work, employment, and social security. And we know future of work is a well-covered topic now. Everyone is talking about it because of the technology, robots, and AI, and their effect on jobs. My approach is more toward the type of works that are there. It's not only for the full-time jobs. I mean, what kind of works will may emerge, and how work will be done in the future, and what kind of effect will be on social security as well. Okay, and my approach is from the interplay of technology, formal institutions, and informal institutions. Okay, so my approach is human-centric, by the way. It's not cross to human like Rafael approach. It's more very human-centric. It's about the future of a human, of people, of how to maintain their dignity, their value of their work. So this is the problem that I'm trying to address in this research. So the present situation now, almost everywhere in the world, I mean, modern societies, in general, the dominant form of work is full-time jobs. So if you have to work, you have to join a company or a government or an agency and have a full-time job. If you don't have a full-time job, even you are considered as unemployed from an economic perspective. Okay, and we have some formal social security programs that are, to an extent, it varies from a country to another, but a good portion of these social security programs are linked to the full-time jobs as well. Since you have a full-time job, and then there are some deductions from your salary, then when you retire, you will be you will receive a reimbursement of your pension plan or whatever. Same thing, unemployment, have some sort of benefits for unemployed people. So the whole system, to an extent, or good part of the social security system worldwide, are designed based on the assumption that we have full-time jobs, and this is the main and dominant form of work. Okay, and in future we know that because of technology, because of AI, because of robots, we are losing. Not we will lose. I mean, we are losing now. We start to lose jobs, some full-time jobs. People lose them, but also there is emergence of new forms of work. So we have the gig work, we have more flexibility, we have remote work that may compensate and may create new opportunities for people. So it's not only a negative effect that people will lose jobs, but also there is a positive effect that new forms of work are emerging, more flexible, maybe more freedom sometimes, and include more freedom for people. But we may need also new forms of social security, because these new forms of jobs are not covered with the traditional, let's say, conventional social security programs. So we will move from the present to the future because of technology as a driving force, but also we have some other driving forces. I'm focusing here on formal institutions and informal institutions. Okay, because how formal institutions will use technology, and how technology will affect formal institutions, and how informal institutions can utilize technology, and how technology can enable or constrain some of these institutions. This will shape the future, will define to an extent what kind of future will happen. Is it a suffering for people because of the loss of jobs, or is it enabling and empowering of people because of more flexibility, more free time? Okay. So these are some facts. This is a good review of all literature about technology and future of work. Of course, we have these trends, gig work, that people do very small tasks here and there, and this gives them flexibility. This gives them easy access to the labor market. But at the same time, there is no social security. There is no financial security, because you may work today, but you may not find this type of gig work tomorrow or something. So there is a lack of job security and financial security, flexibility, which is a good, the positive side of it. But also people need to learn new skills for future jobs, because yes, we know that with AI, with the robots, with all new technologies, and now the routine tasks are being replaced by robots, and even nowadays some non-routine tasks as well. But at the same time, the gain in productivity, the economic gain, will create opportunities for new jobs to emerge with new skills. But people who will lose the jobs today need reskilling. Okay, need someone to do something for them, to reskill them. So we can counterbalance, I mean, the negative effect with this new effect. And yeah, another trend raised by Jitha et al. Is inequality because of AI-based HR selection and management. Because now AI-empowered programs select people, interview people, screen people. So maybe some inequality may result from this. It's well documented now, the effect of how many jobs may be lost in future. Okay. Yeah, they will be lost, but at the same time, we know that other jobs will be created. So we have two effects: job loss because of jobs replacement, but at the same time, new jobs creation as a result of productivity and economic gain. Because of productivity, some new task, totally new task will emerge, and people can work on them. But this needs reskilling, and also it needs institutional adjustment. And this is a very important issue, because in the economic literature, usually they highlight this issue, that technology will increase productivity, so it will create more opportunities for new tasks and new jobs. Yes, this is right from an economic perspective, but we know that economy cannot explain the whole reality. We know that we have societies, we have institutions. There is friction sometimes. I mean, we need time to adapt. And there are interests here and there, and values and power relations, and so it's not that straightforward that because of productivity, new jobs will be created. It is right, but this needs someone to do something. Okay. Okay. So my approach is about formal and informal institutions. In general, modernism, it highlights formal institutions more than informal institutions. It's about governmentality. It's about instrumentality. It's about like controlling everything. But at the same time, still we have informal institutions: religion, trust between people, kinship relations. I mean, whatever shared rules, unwritten rules that are created and communicated and informed in societies without any formal channel to impose them. In general, informal institutions soften the coercive pressure from formal institutions, and this is very important. That's why when both types of institutions are there, both are strong, both are aligned, they will reinforce each other. If we have the law, government, governance mechanism, but at the same time we have ethics, we have values, shared values in the society, we have whatever religion, spiritual traditions, cultural traditions that are aligned, that both of types of institutions are aligned together. In this case, both will be more effective. And this will enable, of course, a better, let's say, social interactions, will facilitate social activities, and will maintain societies. If we have one of them, let's say, more strong than the other, this will have some consequences. I will talk about them in a while. Okay. So now, in different, future or foresight reports, it's reported that, and we can sense this as even as individuals in the social media and everywhere, there is like skepticism increasing, challenging authorities. Okay, so the effectiveness, legitimacy, and even relevance of the dominant formal institutions and governance mechanism now, they are questioned now. There is a sort of skepticism everywhere in the world, challenging what the government say, what the scientists say. Okay, and we noticed this within the pandemic and during the pandemic clearly. So the new technologies can enable or maybe weaken some institutions. depends on who will use the technology, how it will be developed, what paths it will take. Okay, and whatever institutions will emerge in the future, and whatever changes will happen to institutions, whether formal or informal, will be affected by technology as well, because technology will give more power to whoever control it. Okay, and will open opportunity, maybe will enable even individuals, maybe. And maybe not. Maybe it will be controlled by someone or by a few people, like and constrain others. Okay. So what I did, I started with causal layered analysis, the 4 levels of litany, then social causes, then worldviews, then metaphor and myth. And this is very important because usually people are busy with the litany, with the empirical, observable part of the phenomena. Which is loss of jobs, new technologies, productivity. But what about the causes? What about the underlying causes, the underlying foundational worldviews and metaphors that led to these trends and indicators and so on? So then I did future scenarios. I used 2 by 2. So I identified formal institutions, informal institutions as highly uncertain driving forces, and built for scenarios based on that. So starting with the CLA, I'll try to move on quickly. We have at the litany level, what we just mentioned, all the empirical facts that we know about the loss of jobs and about the creation of new jobs, about reskilling. But then we have the social causes. I mean, these trends, they result from certain social arrangements, certain arrangement of social system, that some people control technology more than others. And the economic logic is the most dominant logic that guides technological advancement, not other considerations. But at the same time, we have new, like, social enterprise, social economy movements that try to integrate social objectives within the economic logic. Okay, we have the labor unions are weakened by the time now, and they are maybe not relevant even with the world of gig work. Okay, this is again part of the social system. And technology may enable even marginalized people to organize and to communicate. So all of these are different social causes that will have effect on the future of these institutions, and then how this will affect employment and work and the concept of work. And the world view is the very underlying, let's say, foundation of these social systems. We have modernism, of course. We live in this. I mean, worldwide, all of us live in the modernism, let's say, era, even in non-modern societies, because it's there. I mean, the logic of governmentality, the logic of instrumentalization, systemization. Okay, I mean, I will use Habermas' expression about systemization versus life world, for example. So it's more of everything is systematic, everything should be controlled, everything should be formal again. So there is no room for informal institutions, or not no room, but they are to an extent marginalized in a way or another. So if you need social security, you have to register, you have to have this number. If you don't have it, you will not have social security. But with informal institutions, we have sympathy, we have some religious, some spiritual, some cultural traditions that tell people that you must help others or whatever, because of taken for granted rules that organize the society. But also, other than modernism, we have capitalism. So economic, prioritizing economic logic, productivity, more return on capital, more return on investment. Capital and labor are replaceable, so we can use capital more than labor if it's more productive or more if it has more return. This is the logic, the dominant logic now, capitalism, at least in the business side. And we have the social economy, which is another, let's say, perspective that is not, at least now, especially in Europe, it's not confronting capitalism, but trying to have like new forms of capitalism that is more social, more inclusive. And we have postmodernism with its skeptical approach toward capitalism and modernism, focus on conflict, a conflict of interest between different, let's say, social groups, celebrating diversity, celebrating the multiple voices, okay? And also we have a pre-modern, and still some societies, they have the pre-modern arrangements in their life. And people may recall, and this is the very important thing about causal layer analysis, why we are concerned with these different worldviews, because even if one worldview is dominant now, people can recall some elements from other worldviews and activate them again through their agency to have new arrangements, new institutional arrangements. So the pre-modern, we have, for example, in pre-modern, and this is related to what Raphael talked about art and work. Is art work? Can you make a living with art? Or is it something like hobby, or something like you just do it for fun, or do it for beauty, or do it for the sake of expressing yourself? Okay, so yeah, in the pre-modern era, to an extent, art was not that economized like now, for example. Okay, and even work, you work to produce your basic needs, right? I mean, you can use your labor faculty to do agriculture, to do whatever to build your own house. So people use their labor faculty to produce their basic needs, not to engage in economic transactions with others. Maybe someone can recall something from this pre-modern era and try to relaunch it, let's say, using the new technologies. And even social security in pre-modern era, it's about family only. It's not the government, it's not the state, it's the family, the small communities. So same thing. This can be reactivated again, maybe. And also we have the transcendental view, which is in the contrast with the post-human. I mean, transcendentalism, to an extent, I mean, different religions, different spiritual traditions look to humans as special creatures, as dignified creatures. So they are not only a resource. They are not only resource. They are not only. It's not only about their economic needs. It's about their full existence, which even bypass this world to another world. So if we look from a transcendental, let's say, worldview, we may focus more on exaltation, on purification. So work in this is not only for receiving money and subsistence. It's for expressing your agency, expressing your free agency, expressing your human existence. Okay. Then we have the metaphors, different metaphor and myth. For example, now we have the metaphor of hard worker. If you want to be successful, you have to be a hard worker. We have this metaphor everywhere in the world to an extent now. Survival of the fittest. So if we have this metaphor in our mind, so those who will lose their jobs, it's their fault. They are not fittest. They cannot evolve with the evolvement. So it's their fault. But also we have other metaphor, for example, work as an act of worship. In different religious and spiritual traditions, we have such metaphors that you do work because you want to please God, or you do work because this is your duty as a human being, as a believer. You have to do work in benefit of yourself and others, and so on. So this can be used again to shape how we will deal with the new changes, let's say, in technology and future of work. Basic needs as human rights. We can use the metaphor of human rights. So it's not about productivity. It's not about economy. It's not about economic calculation. It's about human rights. So the work is a human right. Enabling people to work, to express themselves, is a human right. If we use this metaphor, this may lead to something. Family or community as the economic unit. It's not the individual. Again, this is a bit pre-modern, but we can recall it again if we want, of course. If some people want, they can recall this metaphor of the family or the small community as the economic unit. Self-sufficient domestic economy, which is, I mean, goes back to even to the Greek eras. But yeah, this is economy. It's about self-sufficiency. It's not about depending on arrangements or something. So just 2 slides more. So the future of work and employment is driven by, I mean, from my perspective, from my approach, by technology, formal institutions, and informal institutions. But for technology, we are certain about technology. We know that AI is there, and we know that it's developing, and we know that it will replace many tasks that people do now. So there is a room of certainty for technology. But for formal institutions and informal institutions, we are uncertain about the future, how governments will develop, how companies, how the concept of corporate will develop, how the concept of business will develop. What's the role of family? What's the role of small communities? Okay, and at the same time, it's not only high uncertainty. There is a room for agency here. We can do something. Maybe you cannot do something about technology. Of course, people do technology, people develop technology, but there is like a certain path of technology that it will go. It will go. It will continue. We can't stop it. But maybe because technology is affecting and is affected by these institutions. So maybe if we do something here and here, we can use technology to enable, to an extent, let's say, better future, more opportunities for people, so we can build on the gig work and whatever flexibility to give people better life than losing security and these things. So here I identified 4 scenarios. If we have formal institutions and informal institutions, both are to an extent uncertain. If both are strong, I mean, both are strong and of course aligned together. They are not conflicting with each other. So in this case, technology will enable prosperity. So it's not a dystopia, and we should not surrender to this let's say image of future that because of technology people will lose jobs, will suffer. And no, if we do something good, technology can enable prosperity. It will introduce more productivity to the economy with good, let's say, legal system, governance systems, and good informal institutions at the same time. So sympathy, people do good just for the sake of doing good. If we have these let's say, well-established values, rules, working in harmony together, technology can be used to enable prosperity. The other side, the dystopia, if both are weak, if because of technology, some people can control technological advancement for their own interest, and at the same time, because of technology, hyperconnectivity, governments cannot control, and governments are weakened by the time, and at the same time, families, religions, all value systems also are weakened by the time. So in this case, we may go to the dystopia of techno-feudalism. And people will start suffering. I mean, most of people will start suffering, of course, like an elite of those feudalists, techno-feudalists, of course, will benefit from this future, but the majority of human beings will suffer, okay? Or we may have like strong formal institutions and weak informal institutions. In this case, technology will enhance productivity and enhance governmentality, so governments can control better, corporations can control better as well. They can be productive. This will create some economic opportunities for people, but it will limit their agency and limit their opportunities, because everything is systemized, and if you cannot fit with this within the system, you don't have an opportunity to do something. But at least this will create some room for material benefits, let's say, for economic benefits for people. If the informal institutions are strong while the formal institutions are weak, we have technology will enable freedom, yes, will open opportunity for people, but with limited scaling. We cannot scale this. Maybe some well-organized communities can do something informally, and technology will help them to do so. It will open opportunity for different types of new forms of organizing, new forms of security, new forms of enabling people. But we cannot do this at scale, because if we need scaling, we need formal institutions, we need governments, we need corporations, we need organizations. Okay, so this is another future. So these are 4 futures. I'm not here to say that this will happen or that will happen. I'm just exploring that we have these different opportunities. So the last thing to say here is that it's not technology that will change the future of work. It's not technology. It's people. I mean, people will change. I mean, human and social actors will do. They will change. as a result of how they use technology, how we use technology as governments, as corporations, as societies, as individuals, how we use technology, we will change the future of work. Okay, so how we will design, enable, or weaken certain formal or informal institutions will shape the future. And technology, of course, can be used to design and enable, and weaken. So technology is just a tool. We can use it if we want. Thank you very much for your time. And this is my email also. I will write it in the chat. I will stop sharing now. So, and of course, if there is a time, I'm happy to have a discussion with you, whatever questions you have.
So I'm going to do a little bit the chair of the session also, as you did for me very nicely. So thank you for that great presentation. And I was curious to know, like, this research on the future of work, did you do it for a specific body, or was it an academic project? What was the frame?
Yeah, it is an emerging academic project, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah, I just started working on it. I'm trying to make it like a bit universal. It's not linked to certain culture or certain religion or certain country. I'm trying to make it as universal as I can.
Yeah, and because I think on the future of work, I mean, it has been one of the really important topics in the last couple of years. There has been a lot of production, and I think you were right to coin the role of social securities, because we see, like, and I think the point is not so much, it's not enough discussed, because we see with the COVID, where all the job tasks went online, so it became extremely easy to actually hire anyone around the planet. Where social security systems are much lower or much more competitive. And so with the COVID crisis, we have seen a lot of people quitting their job, a lot of companies firing and then rehiring. And there is a lot of jobs that are displaced. And that means also that the social security frame is not the same, because when you start to actually rather than have a team, you have a provider on the other side of the planet, where social security is not so much there. You don't have to contribute to it. Then it really shakes the equation. Have you been modelizing this topic?
Yeah, it is. And what I'm trying to say here is that people are trapped, let's say, within the modernist, capitalist, mechanistic, let's say, frame, and they don't look. Sometimes they don't look enough. They don't give enough attention to the values part, to the informal part. That's why I'm trying to say that we have the two. Both are important. I'm not also here to say that we have to go to a pre-modern era. No, I'm just saying that we have these traditions within humanity, and we can build on them. Yeah.
But to share, like what I was saying in my presentation, speaking about how the art community, which is very informal, there is for one institution, there is like plenty of artist collective and micro artistic structures that are almost invisible legally, I would say. So it's very informal sector. What you see is that it's a very unequal sphere. It's a very precarious sphere. So in Europe, we have a tendency to call that alternative communities, alternative economies, which can be cultural, social, informal. So we call it alternative.
Yeah, and maybe technology may enable such alternative, let's say, forms of work.
And so the design of the social security that is compatible with those ecosystems is not there yet, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyone in the room? I see some camera showing up. Or Antonio, Elisa, would you have some questions to Thomas?
Maybe Thomas.
Yeah. I think we're basically getting ready to do the next presentation. Yeah. But it was really interesting to listen, because there's a good segue from Muatasim when you were saying people shape the future. That really is a sort of the intro to our presentation when you're done.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I don't know if there's one or two questions, because I think, we have to stop here, so the next presentation can start as well.
Yeah, and
So-
and also like the list of the purpose of working was really interesting also,
Yeah.
because we it's like a there is like a cultural like as a European, my list would have been very different in terms of the litany. And I'm like, yeah, it's really important to have like multicultural perspective, because your presentation is really showing how work doesn't signify necessarily the same everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael.